Hello, my name is Roshan Narayan, and thank you for joining us on In20. If you're watching us on YouTube, do
that back forward and protect and pass the ball very, very simple. He is brilliant. If you put leg.
Last show of the season, and I've got the hiccup. So, Danny, if I do hiccup, I do apologize because it's been a massive hiccup for Manchester United in between for the past couple of seasons. Will Pogba be there next season? Should he stay? Should he go?
I think he will be there next season. It's interesting, isn't it, that his form has improved since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been there. Still not been as good as maybe we expect him to be, but everything's calmed down a little bit. We don't hear about one-to-way talk as much at the moment. We don't hear about, he's been linked with this, or he's unhappy, or this has happened with Paul Pogba. And that's probably because the team are doing pretty well. Obviously, second in the league. And so sometimes, you can paper over the cracks.
Okay, fair enough. But the question is, and it will always remain, his agent, he's come out recently and said, you know what, Pogba wants to go. There's offers out there and about. You can't control that, man. And as much as Pogba says, he keeps gesturing like this and saying, just don't need to listen to this rubbish. But this rubbish keeps coming out constantly. Won't that destabilize the dressing room?
I don't think it'll destabilise the dressing room in this day and age. I think they're fully aware of the whole situation. They'll just be thinking, oh, come on, make your mind up. Either you're staying or you're going. Thing is, is he the first name on the team sheet every week? He's probably not, is the answer. He's not always guaranteed a start at the moment, is he? So I think, it'd be an interesting one to see, if you were in that dressing room, how the players feel about it. They're probably a little bit like, you know what? Yeah, you're good, but you're not really as good as maybe you were or you think you are. Because if you were, you'd be playing week in, week out. You'd possibly be captain of this football club. You'd be carrying us through games. That's really been sort of left to Cavani and Bruno Fernandes. We've seen, I think, and Harry Maguire, obviously, the three main players possibly in that team at the moment. If you were to say, right, okay, most important players at United, Pogba's he's not hugely high up the list, is he? He's a little bit far down because you're looking at Maguire. You don't want to lose him for any length of time. Bruno Fernandes, you don't want to lose him for any length of time. Cavani has been absolutely superb. Pogba's maybe fifth, sixth on the list, of those players at the moment.
So, and you have to give me an answer. If you were in charge, you had to make that decision for Manchester United. Would you keep Pogba?
I think if I could get rid of him for the right money and the right fee and bring in players, you start to look in, can you bring Jesse Lingard back into the frame? Look at the turnaround that he's had. Again, you're talking about an attacking midfield player. So you've got quite a few of those at Manchester United at the moment. And if getting rid of Pogba would mean bringing in two or three other really good players, then yes, I would.
Okay, cool. Which means that's also good news for Van de Beek because he will finally have an opportunity to perhaps start. Yes, there's a whole comparison. He and Bruno Fernandes are fighting for the same spot, but I keep telling you, if you watched him play at Ajax, he can play in a deeper role. I don't understand why people over in your neck of the woods don't seem to understand that.
Well, and this is the thing, isn't it? Like I said, Manchester United have got some good attacking midfield players. They could easily bring Jesse Lingard, back into the frame as well. Maybe they need to add to a holding midfield player, type player, or they need another centre half. So Manchester United need players in other positions. So if you can sell Pogba, then great. Donny van de Beek needs an opportunity. He needs a chance to play. We haven't seen that in any way, shape or form at Manchester United. It's almost like, what was the point in buying him? 40-odd million on a squad player. I still think he's a very good player. And I think, he's got an awful lot to offer. But if you don't give him that opportunity, if you don't give him that chance, how's he ever going to show that? How's he ever going to prove it? One game every now and then is not enough to judge a player.
So does that boil down to the fact that it wasn't Ole, and now we can safely say it wasn't Ole because Ed Woodward's on the way out, so there's no one to protect him. He was the one behind this whole move.
Again, Manchester United's recruitment for the last 5-6 years has been woeful, isn't it? It's been really, really poor. Who's been making the signings? Why have they been making the signings that they've made? It's not been good in any way. However you dress it up, it's been very, very poor, their recruitment. Van der Beek is a very, very good player, but what a waste of £40 million. Surely you could have spent that elsewhere. I mean, what's he played? A handful of starts, if that, in the Premier League? We've just not seen him. He was sensational at Ajax. He was absolutely magnificent. So you've brought in a player that you've just not used. So that, whether it was Ollie's signing or not, or whoever made that signing, Manchester United, we've said for some time, their recruitment policy now, and especially now Ed Woodward is gone, because now there are no excuses. Now, we've all blamed Ed Woodward in the past. Can't blame him anymore, because he's clearly not going to be there.
But if you are Van der Beek and you realize that, listen, I might not get all the starts I require, would you wait till, say, come December for that winter move on loan somewhere? Just give yourself a bit more, time to make that decision whether to stay at United or leave. Okay, no, should United just send him out on loan for a bit?
I'd be banging on the manager's door and saying, look, I've come here. It's clearly not working. You clearly don't fancy me as a player. Can I go? Whether that be, if you get the right money in for me, can I leave? Or if not, can I go out on loan? You just have that honest conversation with the manager. Say, look, if I'm not part of your plans, then that's fine. I'm not going to cause issues, but I'd like to go and play football. So if I can generate or find a move that suits the club and suits me, are you happy for me to leave? Just be adults about it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been in this situation as a player, so he will know the frustrations of the player. So it's now down to him and his man management if he can make it work.
And if you remember, when he was still playing for Manchester United, he was actually linked with the move to Tottenham, which he said no, because he wanted to stay loyal to Manchester United and Sir Alex Ferguson. But if you look at the other side of the spectrum, players who've stayed and not achieved, I mean, like Harry Kane, for example, and then you look at Lucas Torreira, who's out on loan in Atletico Madrid. He's just won the league when he was deemed not good enough for Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't work. We saw that with Di Maria at Manchester United. It just didn't quite work for him, did it? Then he goes to PSG and is absolutely sensational. And he was sensational before that. That's why he came to Manchester United in the first place. Not every move is successful, even for very, very good players. Sometimes there are other reasons, outside influences, personal issues that just don't quite work. Players don't quite settle, in a foreign country, whatever it might be. But Atletico Madrid, I mean, what an achievement for them, to beat Barcelona and Real Madrid when, they always have to sell players. They always have to move players on. They struggle to keep hold of their top players. Is an incredible achievement, and for, as you said, Torreira to go there, who not good enough for Arsenal, but better than Real Madrid and Barcelona. Strange one. Obviously, Kieran Trippier, surplus to requirements at Tottenham. That was under Pochettino, wasn't it? Not good enough for Tottenham, but good enough to win La Liga. It just goes to show sometimes there are situations, sometimes personal, between managers and players that just don't happen. They go elsewhere and they absolutely thrive.
So if you were Lucas right now, would you be telling yourself, I'll try my level best to, as you mentioned, make this deal a permanent one? Because I've played 19 games in the league. I've got this medal now. Why would I want to go back to Arsenal? Actually, why would anybody want to stay at Arsenal right now for you?
Well, he goes back. He's got Champions League football. As you said, he's got that La Liga medal. He's going to be playing. I think he'd be desperate to stay there next season. I guess it's just whether Arsenal get greedy and go, oh, hang on a minute. We gave you a player that we didn't want. We were desperate to get rid of. Oh, but now he's turned out quite good. We want loads of money for him. I mean, that's where the difficulty lies, isn't it? And as a player, that's really frustrating. You say, hang on a minute. You were happy to discard me. You were happy to get rid of me no matter what. Now that I've proven that I'm actually not that bad, it's not really fair that you suddenly want 20, 30 million for me. But yeah, Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal right now, there's no comparison, is there?
Yeah, fair enough. If he decides to leave, we'll find out sooner or later. Do you think there'll be an exodus at the Emirates, seeing that what's been going on with Arsenal behind the scenes? Mikel Arteta has come out and said that, listen, Some of these fringe players are trying their level best to destabilize the club. We don't know how true that is, but it just all seemed to go completely pear-shaped for Arsenal this season.
They just sort of, they've not really improved under Mikel Arteta, have they? You know, they've brought in some players. They've supposedly playing a better brand of football, but you don't really see it at times. It was a big job. You know, it was, you know, Emre, whether you liked it or not, you know, was after Arsene Wenger was not doing bad. You know, it's very, very difficult to take after someone that's been successful and someone that has incredible longevity, you know, at a football club. And suddenly now you're thinking, well, are Arsenal going to challenge for the top 6 next season? No, I don't see it. Don't see them breaking in, you know, to the top 6. They're going to struggle, and players are going to leave. You know, Torreira's probably not going to be there. Obviously, David Luiz is gone. Whether you like him or not, he still had something to that squad. They're still going to lose squad players that they're going to have to replace, and that's going to cost them money. And we know that Arsenal aren't great at spending money. So I think again, it's going to be another long, difficult season for Arsenal fans, unfortunately.
So if you're Lacazette, say for example, who's still got a few good years left in him, Aubameyang, who is now towards the tail end, wouldn't you be just telling yourself, listen, I can go try and play football somewhere else and be a bit more successful, be it in the Premier League or the Serie A or La Liga? Fair enough, the money's not there, but wouldn't you want to do that if you're in a team like Arsenal? Well,
Lacazette's got a year left, hasn't he? So it's a big decision for him and a big decision for Arsenal, because either you sell him maybe in the summer, 15, 20 million, or you get nothing, you know, at the end of the year. Aubameyang hasn't quite done it since his new contract kicked in. They've had to obviously to let Ozil go in that time. It's a huge turnaround, I think, for Arsenal, you know, in the summer. You know, it's not a complete rebuild, but it's not far off it. You know, they've got to bring a lot of players in. You can't just rely on those youngsters, because we know that we've seen before. Yes, they can be brilliant, but they're going to be inconsistent. So it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, and I think Arsenal will lose 3 or 4 players over the course of the summer. And if you don't add to that, if you don't bring in good replacements or stronger replacements, then how are you going to improve on this season?
You hit the nail right on the head. You talk about the younger players like your Sakas and Smith Rowe, and then you think back to Adnan Januzaj when he burst onto the scene, and then what happened?
Yeah,
correct?
Of course. Well, and also people might come in for Saka, you know, in the summer and think, well, actually, young player, maybe goes to the Euros, has a good tournament, again, shows it at that level as well. Someone might come in with big money. If everybody's thinking, hang on a minute, I've got an opportunity here. I've just been away with the England team, listening to their stories about Champions League football and how great it is at their football club. And they'll play in Champions League football next season and going to be challenging for trophies. I want to be part of that. So if an offer comes in, you start thinking, well, I want to go. Simple as that. I want to go and play for a better football club.
And a better football club is Manchester City. We don't know what will happen in the Champions League final against Chelsea, but just say if he wins it, right? Pep Guardiola has done it. He did the impossible. He won the Champions League for Manchester City. It's their first ever finals as well in the competition. So say he's done. He's finished it. He's never going to go to Spain and manage them because of his, allegiance to Catalonia. And let's not get into politics. But Pep Guardiola to replace your friend Southgate for England in the near future, would that be a decent choice?
It never happened. Never happened. Pep would want far too much money to do that. And also, I don't believe that the national team can play the way that Pep wants to play and the way that Manchester City play, with him only getting to work with them for 2 or 3 days, during a meetup. The way that Manchester City play, the intensity that they train at, the things that they do on the training ground, you have to be doing that day in, day out, season in, season out. You can't just drop into an international team and say, we're going to play this way. Spain didn't play the tic-tac way, really, with all the players that they had. Even when Spain won the World Cup and obviously won the Euros, at times they would still play direct. I watched many of those games where if they had to play those balls over the top and they had to defend well, they would do. They had incredible players, world-class players littered, but they didn't play the same way as Barcelona. They played a slightly different way. So I think it would be almost impossible for Guardiola for his team to play the way that he wants in an international setup.
But on paper, it looked fantastic, right?
On paper, it would be magnificent, but yeah, unlikely.
Okay. Unlikely was the term used when we spoke about Sepp Blatter's decision to have the World Cup in Qatar. It's just around the corner, and everybody kept asking, how is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? The way this whole COVID situation has pushed the league system, it just might fall into place. Am I making sense, or I'm just trying to create a situation whereby I'm trying to find an answer where there isn't any?
No, but also I guess a year away, it's going to be in a country where there's going to be very, very limited travel within that country, because all the stadiums are in a very, very small area. They're all 15, 20 kilometers apart. So they're all very, very close. So once you're in the country, if you're, because testing will still be going on by then. COVID isn't going to go away. It's still going to be around. I think, you're still in lockdown in Malaysia at the moment. We're sort of starting to come out of it. There are going to be peaks and troughs, between now and the World Cup. It's going to happen. So I just think it's happening. It's going to happen in Qatar. As simple as that.
So how does it work? Will it be similar to your African Nations Cup when they completely stop? I mean, they continue with the system, or the league goes on?
No. The Premier League will finish. The Liga will finish. Bundesliga will shut down for a month or so, whatever it might be. That'll be the case. The MLS always went on in the past because obviously
but with all due respect, I mean, there's the MLS and then there's the Premier League.
That's what I'm talking
Bundesliga.
about. It's a smaller league. They don't have as many players, in it. Obviously, the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga.
You're going to have a burnout, isn't it, Danny? The Euros, then into the new season, and then the World Cup, and then again you continue with the season.
Yeah, but I look at it. There's still 365 days in a year, 366 in a leap year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter where the World Cup is. It's still in that year. It's like when managers say we've had a really congested season. Yeah, but the season started on the same day and finished on the same day. Sometimes you get 3 days off, sometimes you get 4 days off, sometimes you get 7, sometimes you get 2. But across the whole season, the average is exactly the same. Because, you all start and finish on the same day. The World Cup is going to be similar. Those players, some will have got a bit of rest, some won't. It's how modern football is. You just have to deal with it. Instead of the World Cup being at the end of the season, it's going to be in the middle of the season. That actually might be better for the World Cup because players maybe won't be burnt out. They might be burnt out when they go back to their clubs, but actually... And towards the end of the season, they might struggle. So the Champions League and the Europa League might not look as good at the end of that year. But the World Cup could actually benefit from it.
Well, that's something new to look at. Thanks for that, Danny. Just a quick one. I know we're running out of time, and I should have asked this question earlier, but it just popped into my head. Luis Suarez, along with your Kieran Trippier and Lucas Torreira, champions La Liga. He was a misfit or not good enough apparently for Barcelona. But was that a political ploy from Ronald Koeman to split up Messi and Suarez in that that changing room?
It certainly wasn't a footballing decision, was it? It's clearly something else was going on. Obviously, there's maybe a huge power struggle. It was an opportunity to get rid of, like you said, that power play. We saw it at Chelsea. When sort of that core of players, Terry, Lampard, Cech, were all sort of Drogba, Costa, all started to be dispersed. Get rid of those really strong characters. Break that up, because when players have power, it's very, very difficult for a manager to deal with certain things and do certain things. And players with power and have the fans on their side as well. But yeah, I mean, magnificent. Luis Suarez has always been a fantastic player, magnificent goal scorer. Not too sure on the tears at the end of it, but that's me.
That is you. You're a gentleman and a scholar, Danny. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's the final show of the season. I wish you the best. I'm not sure we're going to do a Euro, show.
But who gets in the top 4, Roshan? Who's going to make the top 4?
We shall find out in a few hours. I'm not going to stick my head out for that one. You can do that yourself, Danny. You love living on the edge, not me.
Well, I'm going to go Chelsea and Leicester.
Whoa.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, we shall find out, my friend. Thank you very much, Danny. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you very soon. And remember, you can catch all the highlights on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram account. Till the next time, take care.